Hello everyone. So today I thought we would go through and make just a basic HTML CSS registration form. We're going to use CodePen, which if you don't know what that is, it's one of my favorite websites for just quick run-throughs or practicing web development, anything you want to do HTML, CSS, and or JavaScript. This is a really quick and easy way just to work it out. For the HTML, it takes care of everything minus the body, so this is basically a body right here for you. You can just start putting elements in, and then it'll like live render at the bottom. This is a paragraph, and as you can see, it already started down there because I messed up. And it just kind of shows up for you. But yeah, you can imagine that this is just a pretty neat tool to use if you just want to practice or throw something together, kind of like what I'm doing right here. This will probably be just one video, so I'm going to try to move a little quicker so we can get the HTML and the CSS in all of it. But if it starts to go on a little bit, or I get rambling, then I might split it into two and do the CSS afterwards. But we'll see. I'll let you know at the end, obviously. But so to get started with this, we're gonna want to make our form container here. If I can type. After that, I'm gonna do a container for everything else, mostly for styling purposes. Like I said, I'm going to just kind of go through this relatively quickly. If you're not up to speed on like HTML, then you can check out my other video and you'll understand like the classes and elements, tags, all that fun stuff. But as we go along here, we're going to want to give our form a heading, some kind of title. We're going to register now. That's no. Now. Cool. Next, we're going to add a paragraph. So in our paragraph, we're just going to want to say something generic like fill out the form below. And let's do a horizontal line just for the little bit of semantic styling, I guess we could call it. Oops. It really is just styling, but you can do it in HTML, so it's a nice little shortcut. So next we're going to want to make our labels and our input boxes for the actual form. So we're going to use label. And we're going to say for equals email, because it's for the email box. We're going to close the label. And then I'm going to add some strong tags here because I want to make this section bold, stand out a little bit, make it strong. Yeah, email. See, that pops up down there for us. So that's looking good. I don't know why. Sometimes the cursor disappears, and I'm not completely sure why, but it's okay. Next, we want to use input. And this is the tag you use to get input. We're going to say type equals text because we want them to be able to type in something. Placeholder is going to be enter email. And name equals email. Actually, we're not going to be using any JavaScript, so I'm going to get rid of that. Bring this over until we get over to the CSS stuff. Name equals email, and then required. Okay. So what we got going on here is obviously this input element comes up down here and takes in the input. Put the type for text, and that gives us a text box. You'll see a different type towards the end. The placeholder, enter email. You just kind of type in what you want it to say. And you can see that's how you get the little faded thing here. You name it the email, and then you put required, and that's like when you submit the form, it comes up with a little asterisk, and it says, you know, this field is required before submitting. That's what that does. So, you know, as you can see, we can go down here. It actually has a bunch of my emails. You can type. I guess I have caps lock on. Okay, so this is going to be the basic setup for most of this form. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to say password. And we're going to do the same thing with the strong. Close all that out. Alright, here we're going to say password. We're going to do input again. This is almost going to be identical because type equals text. I'm going to say placeholder equals enter password. Name equals password. I'll say required. So, as you may be starting to get the feel for, forms, making a form is very similar to filling out a form. You just kind of got this set thing you go through. You're just creating the fields instead of filling in the fields. But we're gonna, you know, do another one here. I'm gonna call this repeat password. Placeholder is re-enter password. Oops. Name equals repeat password. And this is also required. Oh, I went ahead a little bit of myself here. I'm sorry. That's what happens when I do something and I'm starting to space a little bit. Can't do that. It's okay. Easy fix. So we're gonna say confirm password. Got all that. That looks good. I'm gonna go input type equals text and whoop. Type equals text and boom. So yeah, you can see it starting to come together down here. Our header, and then we've got our little call to action right here, and underneath, and then we got the line break, and then we actually got starting out the fields here for the form. So this next one's going to be just a little bit different. We're going to do a label. We're going to go down here. Say label again. And this time we're going to put the input inside the label. We're going to call this type checkbox. And we're going to do checked equals checked, so that way by default it is checked. And I'm going to name it remember. Close, whoops. I'm going to close that off. And then we're going to just add a little paragraph here that says, remember me. Something I absolutely abuse. Because I hate signing into things. So we're going to go down here below that and we're going to hit one more P. One more paragraph. This one's going to be outside that label box. It's going to be its own little standalone thing, and we're just going to say by registering you agree to our, we're going to anchor this, make it a link that doesn't go anywhere, but it's still going to be a link. I'm going to say agree to our terms and conditions. Boom, we got that done, yeah. Okay. One last thing, see, we're almost done here with the HTML. That's why I think I'm just gonna push on through, and we're gonna run through the CSS as well. But last, we've got a div. We're gonna give this a class called button container. Close that div. Okay, and then we're going to use a button tag. I'll say type equals button, because it's going to be a button. All the buttons. Class, I'm going to label this one cancel. Close the button. I'm going to fill in the content, and it's going to say cancel. You see our little button pop up down there. I'm going to do one more. We're going to say button type equals submit. Class will be submit. Content will be submit. And then we close our button. Now real quick, I just want to point out, in case some of you are a little bit newer to this, for the type is legitimately submit. That's the type of button it is. That's in the HTML. The class, just to refresh, I name that. I could name this, you know, something like that. No vowels. If I wanted, just to separate it out a little bit. But just for the purposes of this, I'm gonna kind of leave it simple. And then obviously the content you also decide. So these, I just decided to label as submit. This is the actual type of button it is a submit button there. So here's our basic HTML code for this form. Not very hard at all, but you also look down here and it's like, wow, I mean, yeah, it's a form, but it's a very bland. So how do we fix that? With our good old friend, I like that, CSS. So we're gonna start styling this. I'm gonna use the wildcard attribute here that just selects pretty much everything. And we're gonna say box sizing, and we're gonna set that to border box. Okay. Now that we got that set up, we're gonna start actually working on specific things. So I'm gonna call the input tags, but specifically the ones with the text type. The first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to set the width, put that 100%. Let's see what that does. Look at that. Boom, our box is all the way across. So now that we've got our boxes all the way across with their width at 100%, that very, you know, intuitively spreads the width of the thing 100% of the page. So that means if I minimize this, whoa, my computer's real sensitive about that, but you can see it stretches and shrinks to the size of the page. So next, I'm probably gonna add a little bit of padding, give a little bit of space, not make it look so cramped. Let's see, 15 pixels looks like 15. I might do 10. I'm gonna do 10 pixels of padding. Now then, let's just play around with the margin a little bit. See what that looks like. We're gonna do that. I like a little bit of breathing room. I don't like things to look too terribly cramped. Okay, so the next thing I'm probably gonna want to do is gonna play with the display a little bit. Let's try a line block. Let's see what just inline looks like. No changes. We're gonna leave that out for a minute. Stay that way. Take away that border. There's gonna be a reason for that. The reason I'm going to take away that border is I like the idea of having just a shaded background. Something nice and simple. There we go, yeah. Because see, now you just got that light gray going. So you can tell where the box is. That didn't change very much. Cool. So either one, I guess. I was hoping to make it a little bit darker. I don't have hex codes memorized very well, so. But okay. So let's move on to the next thing, which is we're gonna do input type equals text. Now we're gonna do something different, and it's a Css Pseudo Class. And the easiest way for me to explain it is to show it to you. Start with a colon, and we're gonna use the focus pseudo class here. And then we're also gonna go right down here, and we're gonna say that the background color. Let's just do that for now, and then we're gonna say the outline is none. I'll show you that here in a second. But what focus does is whenever something's active and you've clicked on it, see how it got a little bit darker there? Yeah, so it's focused in on that. Brings it a little bit darker. Now see, if we delete the outline, it's got that blue ring around it, which is okay, I guess. It's not my favorite thing. I try to avoid those, especially with like I think links. What I'm thinking of, that it's real bad, it gets on my nerves kind of thing. Okay, so real quick, I just want to target that horizontal line here. We're gonna play with it a little bit. So border is basically what that is. It's just a border line. I'll bump it up, say 2 pixels. And we're gonna use that same color again. Go like that. You know what? 1 pixel's a little big. Yeah, I like that. I'm actually going. I don't know, this might just be my monitor, but I'm gonna put on that, so it's just a little more. It's a little more transparent there. You can see it a little better. And we're gonna put the margin bottom to bump that email away a little bit. Let's do 30 pixels. 35 pixels. So as you can see, it's starting to look a lot more like a form here. But we're gonna make those buttons a little more fun. Let's work on that a little bit. So we're going to target the button selectors here. Say background color. And we're gonna set it. 1 second, I'll be right back. Alrighty, so we've got this color here. It's gonna be green. Wada! Look at that, green buttons. Interesting choice. That's really horrendous. We'll get there. Color. The text color is gonna be white. Make it a lot more readable. And let's play with the padding. Do 15 by 20. It's not too bad. Margin, let's do 10 pixels. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Border, let's do none. There we go. There we go. It's more the look we're going for. It's kind of a soft, flat button. Got that hard border. Now, if you notice, when you move your mouse around, there's really nothing that indicates that these are buttons, other than, you know, if you've been on the internet. But just in case you haven't, so you can do the cursor and we're going to do it as pointer. And then when you hover over it, you can see my mouse changes now. So that way people know, hey, you can click on this. It's a neat little thing. I liked it because it's handy in more situations than just buttons, which are obvious to click. Let's change that with 100%. Cool. Might have to play with that because I think we're gonna try to put we're gonna put these buttons next to each other. I don't like them. I don't like them stacked like that. And let's see here. We can play with the opacity if we want. Make it a little bit softer there. If you want to go crazy, it's like, oh, a ghost button. But honestly, probably we'll do. Yeah, I like that. You don't want to forget your semicolon. Never forget your semicolon at the end of your CSS value. But neat little thing, like, okay, we can do button, and then we're going to use a different pseudo class this time. We're going to say hover. So now that you know what :focus does, you might be able to figure out :hover is when the mouse hovers over it. We're actually going to pop that opacity all the way back up. That way when you hover over it, it gets a little darker. Yeah, that's noticeable, right? It's like, hey, something's happening here. Maybe I should click on it. Let's start targeting a couple of these classes here that I put down. And by a couple, we're going to do both. I'm going to show you how to, this is how you target two classes at the same time. Pay attention, put a comma. Cool. So we got dot cancel, dot submit. That's going to target both of those. Let's put these next to each other. Let's float left, and then we're going to do a width of 50% instead of that 100. There we go. Look. Boom, 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 boom. Got those all good. Let's see here. We're gonna target the cancel, not submit, and we're gonna do a background color red. Yeah. That's a lot harsher, but you get the general idea there. If I was gonna spend more time on this, like what I would do is you can see when I hover over the red button how like bold and just like strong the red is versus like the softer green. I kind of balance that out, probably make the red softer type of thing. But we're looking pretty good here. Maybe just a couple simple things, like we can do a container, do something like add a padding. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Maybe actually just a little bit more. 20. As you can see, a lot of my method when it comes to styling, because I'm not an artist, I like to play and just look and then go back, change things, play, look, go back, change things. That's just kind of my workflow. But real quick, I'm going to show you one last... Whoa, sorry I hit the mic. Dropped the mic. Anyway, I'm going to show you one last thing that we haven't touched on yet. And that's media screen. And this is really handy for responsive design, but you hit @media screen, and then you want to do max width. We're going to say 700 pixels. I don't know that that's an official thing, but I know that's mostly what I've seen used. And then you go in here, and we're going to have to target what we want. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to look at the screen of the device that's displaying the website. And if its width is, lower than the 700 pixel mark, what we're going to do is we're going to display something different. and we're going to do cancel, comma, dot submit again. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bump those back up to width 100%. And what we're going to do, see, is get this kind of small. You can see when it gets to a certain level, it pops them back stacked. So that's the width 50% when it's greater than the max width of 700 pixels. And then we shorten it up, and then it changes it, pops it down back to 100% of the window because it's a smaller window, and just stacks them. And that really helps you to have a more responsive website. And it's really great for working with mobile devices if you're trying to, you know, play around with it on the desktop while designing it. I'll probably make a video about that. Actually, I like the mobile first design route, which is basically you build up what you want it to look like on someone's cell phone, because that's going to be a simpler design, and then from there you change it to what you want it to be on a full like desktop. But this is really the basics here of creating forms. You can play, like, the CSS is where you'd want to play around mostly. I mean, obviously you can play with the HTML too. You don't have to have it set up this way. You know, like the divs, I just like to use containers for a lot of things. You can have different labels. You can label the labels differently as well. You know, if you want like address there, you know, kind of thing. It's whatever you want. Just play around with it, and you can just build from here and use this as a basis. You can try to move things around. Like if we go back up here, it was HR. Sorry, I was looking for H1, but we could do, like, you know, the text align center. You know. Do that. There you go. That kind of looks nice. Left the checkbox over here. But as you can see, which very, very rarely am I going to leave you all with like a full built project, mostly because if everyone on the planet has like the same types of things, they need to be unique. So this is your core, and if you want to, you can take this, you can use all this code, I don't care, and then build out the form you want. You can have it look the way you want, whatever you want, because like even up here where we've selected everything, we could change this out. We could say background silver, and then you can see that gives it a whole different look and feel to it. Just by doing that, it's the simple things like that that can really affect, you know, your web page. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, want me to clarify anything, please let me know down below. I will help you out for sure. And I don't know, subscribe if you want to, I guess. Or let me know what other types of tutorials, like if there's something you want to see made. If it's in my capability to make it, I will put it out real quick. If it's not, I will learn how to make it, and then I'll put it out not as quick. So again, thank you all for watching. I hope this helped out a little bit. I'll see you all in the next video.